Hey everybody, it's Marlene from Life with Marlene, your channel for Florida vlogs, travel, chit chats, and all beautiful. I love to sightsee and do those things. So welcome. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button. So I thought I'd do a pop-up today because I will not be available to do a chit chat on Wednesday. So you get your chit chat early. So I got this topic. I was looking at some information online, and I seen like some like real life examples of people who are like on Snap. Hey Anthony, how are you? Welcome. I hope you're doing good. Happy Sunday to you. Oh yeah, everybody, and happy first day of October. Yeah, happy first day of October, everybody. If you have not already, hit the like. So I was looking on, like, you know how like they do the news reels of everything. Hey Brian, how are you doing? Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're having a great Sunday. So I saw this thing and it was like snapped, where like I would just say like what goes around comes around, and it was like some stories of people when they do things and then they wind up being the person that whatever they did comes right back to them. So that's why I thought of this idea of play with fire and you will get burned, because a lot of times people will do things to other people, but then when things happen to them, like the consequences of their actions, then they're like all confused and disturbed. I'm doing well. I hope you are as well. Yep, I'm doing awesome. I'm doing awesome. And I'm so happy that it's October because I have a trip planned that I can't wait to take you guys there on the vlog. So, like when I was thinking about this, I'm not sure if it will. Oh, I already X'd out of it. So, anyways, I'll just tell you what the story was. So, it was a wife, and for like about maybe 6 months, they were married for 13 years. And for 6 months, she noticed a change in her husband. Hey, Ward, how you doing? Welcome. I hope you're doing awesome. Happy Sunday and October to you. So she had noticed, like in the past few months, that Anthony says, "I'm happy. It's not 100 degrees every day." I know that's right. I know that's right. So this lady, she's married, and she noticed like 3 months into, their marriage, that her husband started acting strange, and she knew something was wrong. She thought maybe he's having a bad day or maybe he's having problems at work. But come to find out that her new husband was already having an affair with somebody. I personally think they didn't say it in the article, but I personally think that he probably had that relationship all along. And then afterwards, he decided, he's just going to still continue the relationship and get married anyways. But, anyways, what happened was the wife picked up his phone and saw a message, you know, from whoever it was, whoever the person that he's been meeting up with. So, like I would say, you play with fire and you get burned. It winded up being the same. The wife winded up doing the same thing to him. She got into a relationship, and that's why I wanted to say, like, this topic, you play with fire and you will get burned. So I always say, like, don't think that you can do whatever you want to other people and you don't get the consequences. Hey, Miss Purple, how you doing? Welcome. So I thought that was just like one example that I was like, oh my goodness. And it happens every day. People think that they can do whatever they want to and there's no consequences to it. And I was reading this also, when we talk about you play with fire and you will get burned. Here's the main one that I always say: when a person lies and lies constantly all the time, of course they can't keep up with it. But then when the same thing happens to them, then they want to act crazy. See, people like to play with fire. People like to strike matches. They like to stay on the edge of things. But then when something happens to them, they don't know how to handle it. And it's just like, you know how like the little Chihuahua dogs, they will say that they're about all of these things. And then when the action follows them, it's nothing like that. People will always talk a good game, but when things actually happen to them, they act a whole different way. They act completely brand new. Hey, Lisa, how are you doing? Welcome. Um, and they act completely brand new. So one of the things that, like, when I talk about playing with fire, you will get burned. See, my first thing is lying. When you can't trust somebody, for me, I feel like that's the end of a relationship, or there can't ever be a relationship if there ever was, because I have never been able to understand, why do people do it. Why aren't people honest from the beginning of a relationship, just like I talked about in the beginning, where the husband, they were like newly married, and she found out that her husband was having an affair from the beginning, like during their honeymoon. That's how bad it was. So I don't know, why do people do that. So another example that I have to say too is, when they talk about, people will say, well, it's convenient, it's what I want to do in a relationship. And another thing is cheating on the person that you're with, in a romantic relationship, cheating on the person. Now, this is, what does it say? This is my opinion, not that of YouTube or anybody else. But I seen like how everybody's acting so strange right now with how Steve Harvey is acting like he's so surprised that his wife has been cheating on him. And the thing about it is that, for allegedly, I should say, allegedly, this is happening. And I found that it was so interesting how bent over he is and twisted up like a pretzel about all of these issues, when that's what he did to his previous wives, because he's had previous wives. So that's why I always say, play with fire and you will get burned. And I do understand that sometimes you get in a relationship with somebody, and then it's not what you thought it would be. But why can't people just walk away from a relationship instead of cheating on the person? It's like they want all the benefits of that relationship, but they don't want to put any of the work to stay true and loyal to the relationship. So that's another one. I don't believe in playing those type of games, playing with fire. If you don't want to be in a relationship with somebody, just tell them from the beginning, from the jump, or we can't be together anymore because it's just not going to work out. And then move on to do what you want to do. Everybody is grown, but why stay in a relationship and play with people's feelings? And another thing that I don't understand is the ones that are cheating. They're out here cheating. They're not using any protection. They catch something and then they bring that to whoever they're in a relationship with, their wife, the husband. It gets really messy. But always what goes around comes around. Things that you do to one person, it will always come back. I'm going to put the link here in the chat, for anybody who would like to join in on this topic and have something to add. And here is another thing: play with fire and you will get burned. Now, they always talk about people who love to gossip and everything, right? So, what do you all think about the ones that love to gossip about other people? My mom used to always say from I was a little girl, if somebody will talk about other people in front of your face, they will talk about you behind your back. And for not just in relationships, but in friendships and also with family, I find that the people that are in your face the most, smiling with you, are the main people who will be talking about you behind your back. Hey, Tamika, how are you doing? Welcome. And that's something that really does annoy me. People who you think that you can trust, it's the people that you think that are the most loyal to you. They really aren't. But I always say, the people who play games behind your back, the same thing will come back to them. Everybody has to face the consequences of the things that they do, even if you think you're being sneaky, even if you think you're getting away with it. You never will. You never will. And I feel like that's the same thing that happened with Steve Harvey. As that's what's happened to many other people who think that they could do whatever they want to, and then there's like, oh, there's no consequences. I can do whatever I want to, and you can, but you also have to understand. I feel like myself personally, this is all my thoughts and opinions. Like I said earlier, the situation with Steve Harvey, I feel like for him that he's like really in love with his current wife, and maybe before he wasn't, so that's why he was doing what he did and cheated until he found her. And I get it sometimes that you just weren't married to the right person, but why not just leave them instead of being married to somebody, cheating on them? I don't know. I just don't get those type of things at all. One thing that I don't like is a person who cheats in any kind of way. Um, if you don't want to be in a relationship, don't play games with other people. Don't play with games with another person's heart. Um, it's just, and it proves it. Like how I love to watch Snapped. I don't know about you guys, but do you guys like to watch crime shows? Um, that's my main thing. I love to watch shows like Snapped. What is it? The other one, ID. What's the other one? How to Catch a Killer. I like to watch all those crime shows because it shows like all the things that people will do when when something happens to them. And I don't mean to go to like no extreme like what they go to when something happens to them in their relationship, but not everybody is stable up here. And I always say that when you mess with the wrong person at the wrong time, maybe one person will just give you a pass, but there's other people, if you play games with them, they're really going to come back. They're really going to come for you with a fury. Like this one case, where the lady, well, I should say not lady, his wife, when she found out that the husband was having an affair, she cleaned out all his bank accounts. She like slowly, like she knew what she was doing. She made a plan up. Hey Deborah, how are you? Welcome. Good to see you. Happy Sunday and happy October. She set up a plan like after a few months how she was going to leave him. So what she did is she slowly started taking money out of all their accounts because they have had businesses, cars, and she was switching everything into her name. And then eventually when he had nothing left, then she left with everything that he possessed. So I always say that you may not always know or can see when people get things done back to them. Like, for instance, if you're in a relationship and you leave them because you're not with them, you don't see what will happen next most of the time. But let's also talk about in friendships. Because I will say sometimes that a lot of people get very jealous and envious when you have friendships with other people. And I don't just mean in real life, but also on this app of YouTube or other social media. There's sometimes where people will, like, they try to be controlling of other people. I don't want you to talk to them, or I had a falling out with them, so I don't want you to talk to them. Everybody is an adult, that's how I feel. Maybe everybody is not mature. Um, like, I try to be a mature person. I don't always do what I'm supposed to do, right? But hey Sassy, how are you? Welcome. Happy October. I don't always do what I'm supposed to. I know nobody does because nobody perfect, but I I don't understand the things like how people will cheat on their person in a relationship, and I don't understand like people who are controlling on this app of YouTube, and they want, because they're not friends with somebody or because they have had a falling out with somebody, they expect for you to have a falling out with them too. And everybody is an adult, but I do think that, when people, especially here on this app of YouTube, and you see people doing some strange or weird things, you like to tell people who you're close to try to warn them. But Not everybody wants to get that warning and listen to it. Hey, UK Medic, how are you doing? Welcome. I put the link in the chat for anybody who would like to come up. Yes. Blessed Sunday to you too, Sassy. Hey, Ricky, how are you doing? Welcome. So yeah, let me get back to this other point that I had. We're talking about playing with fire and you will get burned. So I was just talking about how people, like in friendships, like if you have like a really person who's a psychopath. I had a really crazy friend one time, and everything that I did, if I ever had a friend, she would try to do something. I didn't see it in the beginning. Other people were trying to warn me and tell me that she was, but I didn't want to believe it, and nor did I see it. And sometimes you don't see really who a person is because they'll be so good at hiding what they are. But eventually I found out what she was doing is, if I would set up something like a group, like let's hang out with this person and this person, because she knew their phone numbers, she would text them and say, "Oh, we're not getting together today," because she just wanted me to be friends with her. Like she didn't want to share me as a friend. And I think that that's kind of weird when a person can be like that kind of controlling, whether in real life, on social media. And I just think it's kind of strange. I don't know about you guys. Ricky says, I'm doing good. Thanks. How are you, Marlene? I'm doing awesome. Happy Sunday to you, Ricky, and everybody in the chat. If you could please hit the like, I'd really appreciate it. UK Medic. How are you doing, UK Medic? I hope you're doing awesome. Um, he says, "Yep, I hear you on the friendship thing and control." I don't get it. I'm not a controlling person at all. I'm the type of person that I give people their freedom and their space. And like, if they want to hang out, then they'll hang out. But people have their own lives. And in friendships, I don't know. It's based on trust. Once I see somebody is doing something like that, like calling or texting other people, canceling their plans, or trying to paint certain people in, the circle of friends in a bad light, so that you will not really want to be around them and you'll start to believe them. But eventually, the mask did fall off, and I did find out what she really was about and the things that she was doing. So it's crazy. And I may not have seen what happened to her, but I know whenever somebody is doing something, it always comes back. Like a person who is a thief, a person who is a cheater, a person who, whatever you do, whatever you come, let's see, whatever you, whatever you do and put out there in the atmosphere is what the same energy that you're going to get back. I'd come up, but but uh but not got my camera connected, as I've not got into hair and makeup. Okay, UK Medic, I appreciate I appreciate it anyways. Thank you. And I was saying to myself, why are people like so crazy? Like, I'm not trying to sound like, I don't know, but it's some really strange people out there, like that one girl. She was trying to sabotage all my friendships. And another thing that can happen is that some people, when you have friends and you're in a relationship, why do people change once they get in a relationship? If they're in a relationship, they never call you or talk to you anymore. But the moment that that relationship doesn't work out, then they want to hang out and do everything, but they forget you at other times. And I don't like those type of things. I'm not saying don't spend time with who you're in a relationship with, but I to me, I don't think it's healthy to be with somebody when you're in a relationship 24 hours a day. That's strange to me. Sassy says Marlene, karma is so real. And it is. The things that you do, it will always come back. And what is the other point that I had? Oh, yeah. Oh, so we all know about this. They even made it a show a long time ago, but Instagram and all of these other apps, and also these romantic apps with the catfishing stuff. I talked about that on my podcast channel, but I can talk about it a little bit here. There's so many people who hide who they are, either on social media or whatever. Put up this smoke screen of pretending that they're this way, and they'll go and get all this money from people. Like they'll say they're a 6 foot tall man, and it's a 16-year-old boy, and they're trying to catfish the person out of money, or and it happens a lot in foreign countries because they're in dire need of money. Like I hear it happens a lot in India and Africa and some other places where they're doing that, saying, just send me some money. They always want you to send money through Western Union and all those things. And then I think those things happen too with the people who try to do it's not called mail order brides anymore, but the thing like people who are trying to get visas, like 90-day fiance or something. They'll tell them that they love them really quickly. Love bombing, right? They'll love bomb them, and then they'll think they're in a relationship with somebody, and they'll never meet the person. All they ever do is talk on Instagram or emails. They've never seen their face. And I was saying to myself, how could you send money to somebody you've never seen? And how can you love somebody that you've never met? I guess I'm a different person. I don't understand that. I'm always open to try to find out, but how can you love somebody that you don't even know, you haven't been around? Sassy says, definitely not trying to be with my mate 24/7. Everyone needs their space to do with what they want. Yeah, I get that too, Sassy. But different strokes for different folks. But that's just my opinion. People who want to spend 24 hours a day with their spouse. Yeah. And I found that it was really weird to me when I would always see this girl, and she was not in she was in a toxic relationship, but she couldn't see it. And what he was doing is he he was in a relationship with her, but she didn't know that he already had what is that thing? What is that thing called? He was a truck driver. She wound up finding out that he had a wife in almost every state. I think it was North Dakota, Indianapolis, Michigan, New Jersey, and one other. It was 6 places he had a wife in 6 different states, and none of the wives knew about it, even though she wasn't a wife. She was just dating him. But, after a while, she started to say, like, why he's not getting my phone calls. And she decided that she was going to try to get what are those people called? Um, a detective, private investigator. Come to find out, this guy had a wife in every state, and he was dating this girl, and he was catfishing all of these women. Um, yeah, I shouldn't say every state, Ricky Life. That was an exaggeration. Sorry about that. Not every state, but in a lot of states, 6 states. He had a wife, and none of them would find out about it. He had a wife and other kids spread out in 6 different states. So he had a different wife when he would do the route, and then he would come back, and yeah, and she always wanted to know why he was gone for so long. So she got a detective, and the detective found that out, following behind him, and he was making his way through all the 6 states. And then he would do that repeatedly. He'd go to this wife, this wife, this wife, this wife, and then turn around and start back again at the first one. And she was going to be in line to be the 7th wife, until I think how he got in trouble was that one of the states, it was illegal to have more than one wife. So That's how he got in trouble with that. But yeah, yeah, I was shocked. See, I stay on my snaps. That's why I watch snaps, because I gotta find out what's going on. 6 is still crazy. Sounds like a great headache. Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't understand it, because it's like it's enough to keep up with one. Just saying, just being honest. Um, so that was the thing with catfishing, and all of these people like trying to get visas, and they'll say that they're one sex. Like I heard, but I don't know if it's true, but they say that if you are talking to somebody and they're trying to catfish you, it's most likely going to be a woman. And I was kind of offended. I was like, what? It's not always women who are scheming, but that's what they say. Hey, puzzle pieces, how are you doing? Welcome. They were saying that it's usually women who do the majority of the catfishing, and I was like, I was kind of resentful of that. I didn't like it, but if that's what the statistic is, because um, the only catfishing that I've ever seen is in Instagram. There's always somebody. I don't know if you ladies and gentlemen have ever seen in Instagram the ones that try to send you messages. I got a few, and one of them says that they were a Nigerian prince and they just need me to send $5,000 so I can help with something. And I was saying to myself, if you're a Nigerian prince, why don't you take some of your money from your kingdom? It's some crazy stuff on the internet, especially Instagram is crazy with people sliding in the DMs and saying all this crazy stuff. How you doing, puzzle pieces? I appreciate you being here, and everybody in the chat. How's your Sunday going? I put the link in the chat here for anybody who would like to come up and share anything. Have you guys had any catfishing experiences or known of any catfishing experiences? And here's another one. It's not catfishing, but it was a scheme. So I think they called this, it's not Ponzi scheme, but I can't think about it. Um, can't think of the term. But anyways, it's like a scheme, like they'll have a business, like they'll be a private contractor and they'll start something on a person's home. And then next thing, let's see, they'll start something on a person's home, like say for instance a pool, or start doing something on a person's house, and they'll say that they need a deposit before they can finish up the work, and they never come back, and they'll make off with whatever amount of money that the person got. And I just feel that it's so important when you have a when you're doing something, to make sure you check before you give people money, especially a business and a contractor. Make sure that they're insured, and also to check with the Better Business Bureau to make sure what's their score of their business, and have other people complained about them. Lisa says, stay away from me if daddy's any part of your username, not here to be your sugar baby. Yeah, and that's something that I'll never understand. I must be the old fashioned type of girl, but I don't believe in taking care of a man. That's me. That's me. I'm not telling anybody else what to do. If you want to take care of a man, to each his or her own, but I'm not taking care of a man. Mm-mm. Not like that. Like to be their sugar mama. It's different. Like to help you when a person's your husband. That's a different thing. But I mean, some people just want somebody to just give them the money while they sit down and do nothing. And I'm not about that. Lisa, you're laughing. You're not going to be no sugar mama, Lisa. Puzzle Pieces says, if you are a Nigerian prince, why do you need my money? Is what I would said. Well, I think I said to them, why don't you get some money from people in your kingdom? That's what I said. And I think it's crazy. The schemes, what people will fall for. There's a tickle in my throat. Hold on a second, guys. Yeah. Thank you so much, Puzzle Pieces. Okay, here's another one, guys. Play with fire and you will get burned. I feel like this is a major thing that I'll never understand it, but working in healthcare, I see it a lot. Um, where I see an elderly parent that's, in a nursing home, and they have they have kids, they have other people, and I don't understand why is it that they are nobody checks on them. I've had some clients that I've been with them more than 6 months, and I've never seen a daughter, a cousin, a nephew, anybody come to visit them. And it kind of makes me go, what kind of person were they? I'm not saying this applies to all situations, because there are some people who would rather that their family member put them in a nursing home than take care of them. But for the most part, I don't understand that why some children, some kids, grandkids, uh, will never go and visit their family members. It kind of makes me think, what kind of parent were they, or brother or sister or cousin? Can't believe some men would sit and depend on a woman to take care of them. Ricky, is happening every day. Um, and you know what they're calling them now? I must be late to this, but they're calling themselves house husbands. Hmm. House husbands. So they want their wives to work, and they stay home. And I don't mean a scenario where the husband is doing that to help with the kid, not help with kids, because it's not help, but he stays home to take care of the kids because they don't want to pay a daycare. Now that's a completely different story and scenario. Of course, if that's because you're sharing the role and responsibilities, but I'm talking about a man who just wants to be living in a house, and it goes both ways, vice versa. Even a woman just staying home, and they don't want to do anything. They refuse to work. They won't do anything, and they're lazy. I don't understand it, but I always say that eventually people get tired of that. If you're in a relationship with somebody and they don't allow you to have your own life too, and you can't have some fun, and all they're doing, mm-hmm, and all they're doing is just leaning back and relaxing. Actually, when you come home, they're asking you for dinner, and they've been home all day. It's crazy. Hey, James, how are you? Welcome. Happy Sunday. Yeah, yeah, Ricky. I'm probably very late to the game, but I just found that out the other day that they're called house husbands now. Hmm. So, yeah, I'm not talking about the ones that will, they're taking care of the house and the kids, and they're doing something from home, or they have some kind of ailment where they can't work. That's a whole different scenario. I'm talking about the ones who just want to live in the home. They don't clean, they don't cook. Actually, they're home all day playing video games, and you come home and the house is a wreck. I ain't gonna say nothing else about that because my mouth is too slick. So here is another one. Play with fire. I was just starting to talk about it and I got off subject, but you know, be careful how you treat your kids. For those of you who have children, be careful how you treat kids. You play with fire, you will get burned. I hear it all the time, and it makes me so sad to see. It's so hard for me to see when kids don't have uh, their parent in their life, because for some reason or the other, one parent just walks away, and that kid never gets to know their mother or their father, and that makes me sad a lot because I've seen a lot of things working in healthcare, but what I don't understand is later on in life when the child is, say, 14 years old, now they come around and they want to act like and saying things like, I'm your dad, I'm your mom, and they've been absent. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about that. Do you believe in that there's still potential for them to call themselves a mother or a father, even though they haven't mothered and fathered that child? I feel like that after the hardest work is done, getting a child to be a teenager, that's already enough. That's a lot of work. And I feel like after all of the hard, all the hard struggles are over, now they want to say, I'm your mom, I'm your father, forgive me, I've changed. I don't know. I probably have some more maturing to do. I'm just not there yet. I just don't think that it's possible to have somebody who hasn't been in a child's life for their whole life to then come around when they get older, you know? Ricky says that can't work. I don't know, Ricky. I'm just giving the information. I personally, for me, I can say personally for me, it would never work because no. For so many reasons. For so many reasons, you're not bringing in an income. Mm-mm. I don't even care if it's part time, but you got to be bringing in some income. It won't work. That's number one. Number two, I'm not going to be cleaning up after nobody. So that's another thing. You ain't gonna be messy around here. And number three, you playing video games all day? Mm-mm. Nope, it's not gonna work. Where it says, I feel like a house husband. I'm here 24/7 with the kids, working from home, but blessed after losing majority of my sight. It changes a lot, but I can't live off my wife. I still work. See, boy, they're not in that category. I'm talking about somebody, and I see all the time, working in healthcare because sometimes I do have to go to a client's home and I see things like, okay, and you'll see the house will be a mess and say like the wife is sick or something and she can't work and he's just feeding off of the money that she's getting from the government and he's just laying around. There's no cleaning, there's no cooking, no taking care of. Kids are running all over the place. I mean, it's a madhouse. It's all good, puzzle pieces. Appreciate you coming back. Yeah. Well, I feel like it's a slave, a housekeeper, and a what is it called? A chef. They want all those things, but they want all those things, but I don't understand it. And I always say, play with fire and you will get burned. If you are able to do things and take care of yourself and assist in the family, why aren't you? That's always my question. And I know it doesn't sound good, but if you have somebody and they're at home and they don't keep themselves up, and it goes both ways. I'm talking about women and men. An issue that I always have in relationships is that when you go into a relationship, it's like it's one way, and then you should be maturing and growing. At least that's my point of view. Maybe everybody doesn't think that way. Some people are okay with, how they started the relationship for it to be the same for the next however long you live. And I'm not that type of person. You should be doing something. Like, are you doing something to work on your health? Are you fixing your finances? Are you improving? Like, you're maturing, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, but there has to be some type of growth to get you to want to stay in a relationship. Um, hey, Jewelry Spot, welcome. Word says, I made peace with my dad and accepted the past and learned from his mistakes, and some of my siblings still hold resentment, but no. I almost X'd out of the studio. silly. I'm putting the link in the chat if anybody wants to join us on the topic. Um, but he learned and changed, so we have a great relationship. I guess it depends. Yeah, I think I'm more so talking about the ones that don't change, um, or they wait until, I would say, like a child is already grown. You know, sometimes they'll be 18 plus, and then they'll come along and say, I'm your father." Yeah, no, no. It depends on the individual. Some grow and some stay the same. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that one. Welcome. How are you doing, Jory Spot? Awesome to see you. Happy Sunday and October. Hey, Miss Tracy. How are you doing? Welcome. Let's see if I missed any others. I think that was it. So I put the link in the chat again for anybody who would like to come up. So here's another one. So I was just talking about how when parents get older and working in healthcare, the things that I've seen where the parents are there and they're always constantly asking for their kids or their brother or their sister. Do you all think that it's okay if a person wasn't a very good mother or father, sister, cousin, that now that they're older that they should be left on their own, they should suffer for those consequences? Because that's what I have heard from certain people. They'll say they weren't a good mom, or they weren't a good dad, or they were an awful brother or sister or cousin or whoever they are, or grandma or grandpa. For me, I just feel like I could never live with that. I guess that's the type of person that I am. I could never let somebody that I know, a family member, even living in another state. I've gone to other states just to at least have a once a year visit with a family member just because they're my family. I guess everybody is different, but that's what I hear a lot in healthcare, that they did a lot of mean things and now they have to suffer for what they did to me. And that's why I say you play with fire, you will get burned. And I do get it that sometimes when you become a parent, maybe you may not be in a good space to want to. Oh, here's Ricky. Let me add you.
Hey Marlene, how you doing?
Hey, welcome. How you doing?
Good, good, good. Happy Sunday to you and to everyone in the chat.
Yeah. Let me so what's your opinion, Ricky?
Well, I came to give a little heads up on, the scenarios out there, and I've just had a experience not too long ago with a good close friend. She's a doctor, and she asked my advice a while ago about a person, and I'm like, well, if you're into that person, then great. But she was doing great for herself, like really good. Went to all kind of schooling, become a doctor and a teacher. And this guy basically come in her life, and I thought, okay, he's a bit young and blah blah blah. But the way it looked, I was like, it looks like it could be a scam. That's what I thought. But I
Catfish.
told her, yeah, it's something like that. But I was telling her, like, you have to go off your feelings and what you think. And it goes so happen that a year, 2 years go by, and papers came through, and now he got his papers now in the States, and now he's like want to go away. He want to leave, and now she have a baby with him. And I'm like, this is very upsetting. And just the thought of that someone can really hold out just to get what they want and leave you stranded, not caring whatever they have started with you or anything. And I just wanted to let people know, especially women, that no, it's so hard for women to choose. Like this man is actually here to care for me or be with me for the rest of my life. And there are questions to be asked. Like when you're trying to be with someone, there's just so much red flags, like especially when you ask someone like, "What is your plan for a family?" or "What is your plan for us?" and they come up with, "I just want to be with you," or they don't have a plan, or their mindset is not, "Okay, my determination is to make a family with you, to build a home, to take care of you." That's not theirs. Like, there's so much things to look for, but at the same time, when you go to a different state, or say if you're in the state and you go to a different state, please look out for guys that they target you and they come to you very pleasantly and basically give up everything just so that you look at them as, oh, someone that is committed, but they're not. They're only in for that period of getting their papers or getting a pass to be in the state. And at this point, my friend, I'm bitter inside because I've seen her grow, and I've called her sis and see the things and actually welcome this guy in my home and everything, and to see what happened now, it is grieving. Like, just to see a woman that is so confident and independent go out there and pick up a man that is just so low down. Like, I just can't believe it, and that it has happening in front of me. I just want to give the heads up to other women out there, just to be very aware of who you taking into your life. Like, it is so serious, because there's men out there that literally want to sit and have you do everything and take care of them and bring them into a successful area of life where they don't deserve. Because at this point, I'm saying this guy, and I'm telling my friend, like, please, like, if you got to put him through child support or whatever, like, these are the people that deserve to be put in child support, because now you have a child and you don't care about that. You just, like, you want to pack up and go. Like, oh, I'm still in love with this person and that person. No, it's bogus. You are in this relationship just to get what you want from it. And I just want to give you guys a heads up. So beware of these things, because there's scammers out there that literally are looking for a successful women that are independent, to pick and feed on you, to grab from you the joy of your life, and to break you down. And then they leave you with probably debt and all these different things. Now you're in a new house, and that new house was supposed to be a two-person, being there taking care of everything. Now it's just you, and they will leave you high and dry. And for me, it breaks my heart. I'm a man. And to see that, and I'm like, I basically welcome this guy in my home and into doing the things I do. I love fishing, and I welcome him, take him up, take him fishing, all of these things. And for him to do this, and I'm like, it caught me a bit off guard, but more to her. Like, it really, like, it distract her and turn her world around. I'm just saying, beware, woman. Like, men are out there, and yes, men do get hurt, but men are definitely, like, targeting women, and it is sad in my eyes to see a man, and they call themselves man, which for me is like, you're not a man. You are a
Boy.
coward. You are a little jit, as they say here in America, that you are not ready for life. And for you to do that to another human being, the things that will come to you in life, you most likely deserve it, and only God can save you and spare you from these things, because you need to repent. You need to turn away. Look, I could go on. It's bitter. Let me let you go at it. What you have to say.
Yeah, I have to say that I know somebody, and it went to, okay, the person that I know for, maybe 3 years. And she just, this guy, and we grew up, he was one of my brother's friends. So I've known this guy for a long time. So he starts to date her when she came from England, and she just like completely opened up her heart for him and did everything. And this is somebody I know. This guy is the guy I know. So then they get in a relationship, they get married, and after they get married, because she just got here, when you get here, you get fresh credit. He put all this debt on her.
Wow.
I mean, so I can't even tell you how much debt, like almost $130,000 of debt.
Wow.
And he wasn't paying bills. He had bookies coming after him. He had a bad gambling problem. So much stuff he did to this lady, and she was. It was like after in a period of 3 years of them being married, she got looked like 70 years old now.
Wow.
He
Wow.
broke her, and then he winded up leaving and going to somebody else.
Yep. And
I
that's
don't.
what I'm talking
I never
about.
understand. Then why did he get married to her? Because
That's what I'm saying. They're
I don't
users. Like
understand.
they're literally users. There's so much use, and I see it so often. Like men talk about, oh, like I just can't wait to get up and go. I'm like, what, why did you get married? Like, what's the point of going in someone's life? Like, my thought from I was young is I'm going in a relationship and I want to be in that one relationship for the rest of my life. I don't want the headache of thinking, oh, I'm going through this. Like, whatever we have to do, let's work through this and make it happen. But I don't know what's their thought of going into a relationship, working with another person, human being, and then just get up and go. I really don't, I can't comprehend it.
I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me. For me personally, and we knew him, and we saw all this going on, we're like, but we know him. So all the time that we known him, I felt like was deceiving us all along. Everybody was like, yeah, get with him. This is a good guy. This is a good guy. We were all telling her that, and we couldn't
Yeah.
believe when, yeah, I was complete like, what? He put all this debt on her and left.
Yeah, it is sad. It is sad. I just be weird, like for women out there, and I don't know. There's a lot of ways to go protecting yourself, but there's also different ways of people being just scammers. Like now, the time that we live in has changed, where people hearts and minds are just it is whack. I'm
Yeah.
just I see so much craziness going on.
Hmm.
You want to check up on the chat, see what's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah, Callie King says, he said, my daughter's mom left before her first birthday. I've raised her on my own. She's 25 now. So it does happen. It does happen that, you get in a relationship and the person that you see, well, my mom used to say, it's a Jamaican saying, see somebody and live with somebody.
It's
Two
two
different
different
things.
things. Yeah, right. That's true. That is
Yeah.
true.
So
That
I'm
is
sorry that
facts.
happened to you, Callie King. I really am.
Yeah, that
And I
is
got to say,
sad.
shout out to all the good parents out there that, you know, not everybody
Yeah,
gets to have a match and have two good people to have
exactly.
children. Sometimes it just has to be one strong one.
That is true. And kudos to those, man, that like you are that one parent that stick with, being a parent because they're women as having kids now that is just abandoning their kids, are not even really properly raising them.
Mhm.
And also dads that are stepping up, which I do see that sometime, even someone I know real close that he has stepped up so much to be a dad and a single dad at that I am I give him the thumbs up to say the
Yeah.
least because there are parents out there that is doing the work, they're really putting in the work, and then there are all those parents that really went through 9 months of carrying a baby and then bringing that baby into the world and then just do whatever, let that child just have its way of living and not properly raising a child, which is sad. So thumbs up to those who are true parent that is doing the work because it's not easy. I am not a father, right? I am a godfather, but not that is not close to being a actual father of raising a child, being in the house every single day with a child.
Right.
So thumbs up to the parents out there that it's a lot of work. I see the work and I know that it's a lot, especially now in this time, everything is high, the prices and etc. So thumbs up to you guys
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. So have you ever heard about these catfishing people on Instagram?
Definitely. Definitely.
That's
And
what that's
that in
what one of my
itself.
friends, she's like, that's why I don't want no Instagram.
Look, it's not even about Instagram only because I just deleted not just, I deleted it a while ago, my TikTok. And I was getting a couple views well on TikTok. I basically made that for my channel. And I just start getting these. random messages, and then they start getting really weird, and then even from weird to being nasty, like woman they are something. And then
Yeah.
I didn't get catfish, but I saw it coming, and so I deleted my TikTok completely. But I saw this person, and they came on a different name, but the end of it I realized was the same as the last one that I blocked,
Mhm.
and they keep sending me stuff, and before you know it, I found a picture that that person was using, right? That actually is the picture of that person, and it was a man, and I'm like, okay,
Wow.
so that's how catfishing works, and then I'm like, I have no part of it. I don't want no part of it. So I deleted my TikTok channel, and it's everywhere. It's on TikTok, it's on Facebook, it's everywhere you go.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
there. Yeah. So it's just a scary
Yes.
world.
It's crazy, and that's I never used to believe it that they would say that it's the opposite person. So if you think you're in a relationship with a woman, it's most likely a man.
It's facts, and that's what's scary. And I thought to myself, Marlene, I said to myself, I told my wife, I think 2 or 3 months ago, that, I'm glad that I'm married, because I can't imagine me be out there looking for a woman, and I go on a date with a woman thinking it's a woman, and before you know it, it's a man. I'm like, I don't know how I would react to that.
No,
That would, I'm so glad I
yeah.
don't have to go through that process.
Unfortunately, now in the dating world, you have to ask them what sex they are. No, for real. I'm not kidding.
I know.
You think it's they could say that they can check
Yes.
woman because they identify as a woman, but are you a real natural born? Are you a natural born, or are you, oh, he fell off. It's all good, Ricky. You have to ask if they're a natural born, whatever race, and not race, sex. Are you a woman or are you a man? Because people, you get in a relationship and you'll think that you're dating. Oh, he came back. Okay.
Sorry about that. I got kicked
It's
off.
all it's all good. Yeah, I said you'll be in dating somebody until one day feel like you'll find out that they are a man, but they're transforming into a woman, and you're like, or I
Yeah.
wasn't always a woman, I used to be a man. Like, it's very important. Like, to
Exactly. Even though
ask that. Like,
you ask,
yeah, I
and you
didn't
have to
think
go
about
into
that
serious
before.
detail. You have to go in some serious detail to really find out if they were born this way. Like, I'm glad I don't have to go through that process, because I just can imagine how awkward it would be sitting in front of a person asking them, were you born a man or were you born a woman? It would be so awkward. So I'm just glad I don't have to go through that process. And sorry for those who have to go through it.
Yeah. When you have to go through it, you have to go through it. And I see, I understand the reason why a lot of people is just like, you know what, I'm done with it. I'm just going to stay single over here.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm
That
going to
is
stay
true.
single over here. I don't have time for those type of games. Oh,
Exactly.
this was James say, what did your birth certificate say when you was born?
Yeah, that's a good question. Did it say he or she, or male or female? Yeah, it's just sad that that's what we have to go through. But yeah, we have to be careful. And social media have gotten so, like, open, like, where there's so much going on. Like, even with kids, I don't know how parents do it. I would have to put in. I told my wife, I said, if when we do have a child, I'm putting in everything. Like, all these hobbies that I have would have to be aside, because I'm like, the world that we're living in, I would have to put in so much work to make sure that my child is not being targeted, not being bullied, not being abused in any way with the internet. I would have to monitor all these things, this work. And that's what I'm saying. Being a parent now in this time is so
Yeah.
much more work than back then. Back then they push us outside and we stayed outside until
Yeah.
night, until
Yeah.
they said, oh, okay, it's dinner time or it's bedtime. It's
Yeah.
time for you to shower and go to bed. That's how easy it was back then. Even though there was things happening back then, it wasn't this like this.
No, not to this extent.
Right.
And now it's like you can't even let the kids go outside because you have to worry if somebody's going to try to grab them. So even
Exactly.
if you want them to have some type of childhood, you have to be there monitoring them.
And that's what I'm saying. It's so much more work to be a parent now than it was then. It's a lot. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I wonder about having a child, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love
Yeah.
kids. It's just the fact of the work I would have to put in.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. If you can't handle it, it's best to
Yeah,
just not, yeah, to not do
exactly.
it. And I have friends that they've just chosen just because of their finances that they just can't afford to. Just that alone, say I can't afford a kid. They said we're
Hmm.
struggling over here.
And that's what it's good to know who you are and what you can do, because then it helps you in the future for sure.
Yeah. So, you have anything else that you want to add? Because I was going to stay on here, but just 1 hour. Anything you
Yes.
want to end with?
Yeah, I just want to say, ladies, I know that it's tough out there, but be strong. All right, be strong, be very strong, and keep your mind in contact. As Marlene usually do, she takes these walks or drive out, which I recommend dearly. Like if you have to do that, do that. Do things that encourages you and lifts you up, to keep going. Because in this world, there's so much attacks going on and so much things that to keep you down and distracted and frustrated, bills and work and people and situations. So I just want to say, do what you have to do. Find things that you enjoy doing. Please don't stay indoor and keep these things inside because it wrecks you from the inside out. All right. So that's all I got with you guys. So be safe and be good.
Thank you, Ricky.
All right, Marlene. Bye.
Bye. Oh, I'm glad I looked because I was just about to hit end. Next see is back here backstage. Y'all don't want me to go, do you today?
Marlene, I sent a message in SOS. Don't leave, Marlene. Don't leave me.
Oh, I have my phone on the charger, so I
I
won't
had
let
mine too.
you.
So you didn't get my SOS?
No. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. I just got it. I just got it.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, hello, Marlene. Hello, chat.
Hi.
I wanted to say something on the catfishing part. And again, Marlene, if there is some weird sounds coming from my side, I'm sorry. But I just
You don't have to say that. You're good.
okay, thank you. My brother is married to a person from the Philippines. So my sister-in-law is Filipino, and this is the reason why I wanted to come up and say this because I seen this happen a lot. And so it's a very like poor country, and it's people are constantly in need, right? And so they grew up like that. Now, my sister-in-law's sister, I think she's her youngest, the baby sister, has been catfished, and I think that's what it is. And everybody's been telling her, but she doesn't listen. It's been like 5 years, probably more, that she's been sending money to this person that she met online, and
Mm-hmm.
he keeps on promising like, oh, I just need like 500 more for so I can get my visa and come see you. And she sends some monthly, and then every month something comes up apart from what she sends her on a monthly basis. Something always comes up. There's always an emergency. There's always something that it's happening to him, right? And everybody's been telling her, that he's not coming here. He's not your fiance, because now they're engaged, according to her. And they've never met in person, Marlene.
Uh-oh.
They've never met in person. This is just,
Okay.
over the
It
over
looks
the
like it
phone. Or
disconnected for a second, but it seems that it's back.
okay, can you hear me now?
Is
Can you hear me? Okay.
did it cut off? Did you cut off, Nixie?
No, I
Or
don't know
is it
my
just me? You guys let me know. Can you hear me?
my
I
avatar
want to
is
know if
moving.
it's just me or is it Nexie?
I don't my avatar is moving, so I don't know. Can you guys
You
hear
can hear
us?
her? I, I don't hear you. So I'm gonna go out and come back.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna go out and come back.
Okay. How's everybody doing today? You guys having a nice day? Did you guys have a nice weekend?
Okay.
Okay,
Can you
you're
guys?
back.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Marlene.
Okay. Good.
Okay, so I don't know how far you heard or what you heard before. Um,
Well, I heard you saying your sister-in-law is from the Philippines, right?
yes. Is that as far as you went?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So her sister, the younger sister of the family, has been catfish because, like I said, everybody keeps on telling her that that's what it is, but she's not listening. Um, she's been catfished by this guy for like the past 5 years. Um, they're engaged now. Okay. So
Oh, it's.
apparently they've never met. They've never met in person,
Mhm.
ever, ever, ever. So she keeps on sending him money. And on a monthly basis, let's say she sends him like $200, right? And then every month, Marlene, somebody gets sick, somebody loses something. There's like a catastrophe going on for him. So he asks for more money. And she's been doing this for the past 5 years.
Mhm.
Um, so when the pandemic was going on, like so many people from his family passed away or lost whatever, but many passed away according to him, and she kept on sending him like 1,000, 1,200,
Ooh.
$1,300 every other month because somebody will die every other month, and they've never even met in person. That's like the whole thing. So we tell her, her sisters tell her brothers tell her, but she just don't listen. She says that they're very much in love, and they are gonna, and he's getting a visa according to her, and he's been getting a visa for like the past 4 years, and she sends him money for that visa, but there's always a reason why either it gets denied, or there's a reason why he couldn't use that money for that visa.
Yeah, I agree with Ricky. That's a lot of money.
Yes, and the thing is that she doesn't listen, and you tell her. I told her, you have to be very careful. You can, and this is not a young woman, Marlene. This is not like you say, oh, she's a kid. She doesn't understand. She's in love with love. It's a lot of young people do, right? We all go through that. We all go through that. No, this is a woman that is like very well in her 60s.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm thinking this is somebody in her, 20s to 30s.
No, 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 no. This is a woman, like I think she's either like probably mid 50s or probably early 60s. She's not a kid. Like she is a lady of age. That they say with age that comes wisdom, right? So this is someone that is already there. So they've been trying to warn her and to tell her, but at the end, even her sisters, which my sister-in-law tells me, you know, I had to stop because I was getting very like anxious, irritated, sick, headaches, and everything because I was trying to make her understand that what she's doing, that somebody is stealing her money, that this person may not even be a man, it might be a woman,
Hmm.
or who knows, taking her money, and but she just doesn't want to listen. For her, they're gonna get married, they're gonna meet as soon as he gets the visa, and they're gonna meet and they're gonna live happily ever after. And it,
So
it's
I have two questions.
mhm.
So you said they've never met, right?
Yes, never.
Okay, and the question that I have is, has she even seen a picture of him? Like has she done like a video, like talking to him to see his face?
Okay, and in his and this is because I saw this. Okay, I witnessed this firsthand on his account, there's an avatar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you and I of a picture, there's an avatar and whatever. Now she has videos of him like having coffee with someone, shorts, of him eating or having coffee. But the thing is that they're very short, they're not long videos, and it's just him doing like mundane things, like nothing of substance, or saying something to her in person, like saying, "Hi honey, how you doing?" Things like that. No, none of them are like that. It's just of him doing odd things here and there, and they're very
What?
short. Yes.
So she has never like talked to him.
No, not first time like you and I do.
Oh,
No. No. And I
what?
don't know. This was, and mind you, this was when this had been going on already, and I found out about this, and I talked to her because we're very close as a family with them.
Mm-hmm.
This was right, like when the probably the second year of the pandemic. I've been hearing like talks about her and her boyfriend or things like that, but I was like, boyfriend, because I've never seen her with anyone, right? So I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. So yeah, so it's been going on. It had been going on 5 years since then, I guess. So now it's what, 6, 7 years.
Wow.
And every time she says, I want to come see you, right? There's something always happens. He has to either go out for work or and we
Oh,
don't and we don't understand, Marlene, what is the whole, like, why, like, what is he saying or doing, or what happens to a person when they're doing, what they've been catfished, and for so many years without even a connection, like
mhm.
a touch of a hand, a nice, every night conversation of you and I. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I just don't.
And what I don't understand is what I think it is that she wants to be in a relationship so bad, and she wants to be married so bad that she's grasping at straws. Anybody that she can say, and then she's in her mind, she's told herself she's in love with him because she's in love with him, but you don't even know if it's a him. It could be another
Hmm.
woman.
No, no, like they have had um, phone conversations, but he's from like non-English speaking country.
Okay.
So the conversation is short, like somebody say, "Hi honey," on the phone, like a man will say that, and they will have conversations, brief conversations, but because he doesn't speak like English well, according to her, they cannot have like long, long conversations or FaceTime each other, because
Mhm.
his phone, in this age of age and with all the money she has sent, his phone is not up to FaceTime or a video call. I don't know how old his phone is,
Oh
but
my goodness.
what I wanted to say is, when I said that she's from the Philippines and everything, that it's a poor, poor country and stuff like that,
Oh.
is that a lot of people that I notice have been catfished, for money, or been asked on IG or places like that for money, is because they touch your heartstrings, right? You know how it is to not have money. You know how it is to be hungry and have to raise like a family, or have a sick family member in a country like that. So a lot of times they target, people like that they know that it will fall for whatever you say at that moment, because they're pulling at your heartstrings.
Yeah. Oh, let's welcome Word.
Hi, word.
Hey, can y'all hear me? I apologize. I got the babies. Just trying to make sure there's no background noise.
You're good.
There's a
But
clicking noise, but I don't know if it's coming from Marlene.
I
Is
wanted
it
to.
me? Me?
It's like a feedback. I hear it now. I
Oh,
didn't
Yeah,
hear
oh,
it.
oh!
like a
Let
clicking.
me mute mine.
But I wanted to tap in and touch on what y'all was saying too. And like when you said, heartstrings too. It's part of that. I mean, it's all incorporated because just as human beings, we all have desires, and some of them are different from others. Some of them, you know. desire to become famous. People play on those heartstrings. You see these young people going out to California and getting bamboozled by the opportunity to becoming famous. But to stay in context of what we're talking about, the desire to not be alone is a major one. And a lot of times people are lacking things as in their youth. And people are very keen and manipulative and understand how, um, like, I can listen to people and I can sometimes tell what is missing. And if I was a manipulative person, I can easily tap in and convince people that I'm the missing link. And that's what people do. Like when people say love bomb, but I like how you associate it to the heartstrings because what people don't understand is once those strings are connected, they get plucked. They give you all this what you desire, and once they build you up, they tear you down by plucking that string, and they take it away from you, or uh, they get you to conform or not see things because of the threat of them taking it away. And a lot of times you see this happen with men doing it to women, but it can happen either way. But like what I said, when they build you up and then when they tear you down, they make you remember, I was the one who gave you all this. I'm the only one who will do this for you. So even when you talking about the scamming, I got like three or four people that's close to me that been through various situations as far as bringing somebody over here, getting a green card out of them, scamming online. I had a friend who, his mother, she been alone her whole life basically, and she met some guy overseas and she got wrapped up in this Bitcoin scam where he was sending her money, having her buy Bitcoins. Like he was laundering money through her. She didn't even know. When I heard what was going on, I told him to go to the police. And when he did, he was like, "How did you know?" And I said, "Because it don't sound right. It's not hard. Like, don't nobody wire you $10,000 and give you 3,000, buy $7,000 in Bitcoin and need you to spend it, right?" It was just, and it was repetitive. And I'm looking like anytime you have a purchase over 7,000, now it's 5,000. The IRS start looking at you, and they're looking at you, not him, because everything is in your name. Like none of it sounded right, and it's just, we use the term discernment, intuition. We have to really learn how to not use our emotions to make choices, but use our mind to make decisions.
Yeah, that's oh, I can't imagine that. And you said she was an older person, word?
Yeah, at the time she was 62, 62. She just passed away recently. Yeah, she was 62 when that happened.
And so it shows that it's not just a thing like people will say it's young people. Everybody, anybody could fall a victim to it.
Oh, they get older people because like they got one of my aunts because her husband died and she was alone. They look for, like I said, the desires. They have to fill a need, especially with these scams. They look for people who are emotionally traumatized, usually going through a loss or just been neglected and desperate. Almost, I don't like to use the term desperate because, but people who are in vulnerable situations are easier to manipulate, especially with emotion. When your emotion is involved, it's hard to rationally think. When you feeling like even having conversations with people. Pay attention. You can always tell where a person is when they tell you, "I think" or "I feel." You have conversations and people say, "Well, I feel like this." Soon as I hear that, I understand the perspective that the person is talking from. They're talking from an emotional standpoint versus someone saying, "Well, I think this." And you can even tell by the mannerisms or even the tone if it's an emotional thought or if it's a rational thought.
And I'm gonna chime a little into that, Marlene, if you don't mind.
Oh, go ahead, Nexie.
Okay, and in the era that we're in of technology, people have no filter when it comes to posting their feelings, their moods, and everything online. So these people have access to that. They have access to what you're posting on your, Facebook or IG or YouTube, whatever, social media platform you're using. These people have access to that, and they're well versed on, let's see who I can scam today. Kind of way of living. They have that particular way of living, that they are always looking into the next person, but they do their homework before they do these things. They're not going to target someone that, it's not so emotionally attached to things, or so emotionally wounded, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And
I just want to say one thing and then I'll let Word go. Um, like Word was saying, in these relationships, they know to if they can get your heartstrings involved, it can also your mind is going to follow because that's just how it works.
and what Nexie said, what both of y'all said, but what Nexie said too, like people data mine, and like I always been transparent. Every conversation I have with anybody, I do the same thing. I just choose not to, do nothing hurtful or harmful to people. At times, I won't talk about things, or I won't even. I'm very particular with my vernacular, the way I don't try to emotionally charge up anyone with any conversation. If anything, I try to make people think. But I know if I can do it, I know a lot of other people are very well skilled and talented in doing it in negative ways. But I try to, be as transparent with people, and that's why like my demeanor is so calm, cool, and relaxed because I mean, I can talk with enthusiasm and get people excited, and like, but it is a false sense. Um, Unless I'm training people, I don't usually do that. I don't want to give anyone a false perception of anything, and I do it intentionally. But it's people who, are master manipulators. We talked about the different personality types, and think about the term Machiavellianism. People read books, and people know this stuff. People practice this stuff. Like that's a philosophy of manipulation, of using people to get what you want. It's an art. It's people who actually have mastered it, created businesses off of it, and they thrive in society. So, I mean, all this stuff, we have information now. We can be aware. It's just we have to practice, 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 and understand what's in front of you. Because, like Nixie said, what you put on social media, people is looking at that. They read that. It's people out here who read their job, just like people get up and go to work and make their money. It's people who wake up and their job is to manipulate others so they don't have to work hard. They can just get what you earn. People out here doing it.
Yeah. And I just my short period of time being here on YouTube, I've had several run-ins with experiences with people who are trying to get something from you financially.
Exactly. And a lot of times, and this is why, Marlene, I tell people, be careful on what you're posting on your social media. Be careful. Don't you know how people have that tendency of, if they're in a bad mood, or if they break up with someone, or something like, any little thing. I shouldn't say not something major, but any little thing that alters their state of mind, their mood, and stuff like that. Um, they are posting it. So these people are, I mean, people that are into manipulating others for money, because that's what it's all about. They're not there because they want to find love. They're there because it's a business for them. Like Word said, they're looking at it in a way of, okay, let's see how much I can scam out of this women or this man. And because there's a lot of men too that go through this, and I'm gonna make as much money as I can now from them, and then jump to the next one. Or that sometimes they even have 3 or 4 people that are doing this too, or maybe more. So you have to be mindful of what you put on your social media platforms. Be careful. Don't allow just anybody, to take part of your social media environment. Privatize it.
Before I met my wife, I told you I had that Facebook group, and it was like a spirituality group. And I met this lady from Nigeria, we was just cool conversation. She was asking questions, and all of a sudden she said, I want to come visit you in the States. And my mom was going over to Africa. She's like, why don't you come over here? We can meet. And I asked her, I always ask people, well, what's your intention? She said, I think I'd be a good wife for you. I said, how do you know what I need? You don't even understand or know me. People get wrapped up in, like I said, we all have desires. I mean, just naturally, as human beings, we are, people can say they find alone, but just naturally as human beings, you have a desire to communicate with people. You have a desire to be around people. And um, those desires of friendship, relationship, people are keen and aware of that, and they will take advantage of that. You just have to. I always ask for intentions. That's like a life hack. Just figure out people's intentions, and a lot of times ask because I believe it was Marlene earlier who said, um, I know somebody said they. I don't know if it was her or the gentleman who was on, but they were saying, figure out a person's intention. And a lot of times when you ask the person their intentions and they got ill intentions, they can't explain their intentions. They can't. That's a telltale sign. Or if it's, he was saying like, what's your future? What do you plan? What do you see us in the future? If a person can't tell you that, then um, to me, that's just a telltale sign. That's a warning sign to be alert.
Yep. And you're so right. Word. And also what Ricky was saying too. And a lot of times you get wrapped up that you could be a very intelligent person, but it's the ones that you could have a lot of, you know, experience with lots of other things, but it's a completely different thing when you talk about getting your emotions involved with someone. You don't always think rationally when your emotions get involved and you can't see certain things. And it's so important to have other people who really do care about you that will call you out on things.
It's true. That is so true. And also, you know, what you like, how educated you are, or how um, far you've gone in life has nothing to do. For some reason, I've seen this happen to a lot, like people around me that are people that are educated, like my sister-in-law's sister. I don't know if she's a CNA or an LVN. I'm not sure, but she is in the medical field as well. She's gone through school. She has all of the certificates and stuff like that, and she's not someone that I would have thought will be easily fooled like that. She's a very bright lady, and she's been married before. You know, but they just have the ability to get in. I don't know if I don't even know how this happens, because it has never happened to me, and hopefully will never happen to me, because I don't know how they get hypnotized by someone like that to do whatever they want. But like I said, you have to be very careful. And some platforms warn you, right, of people like this. I don't know if you ever seen that, Marlene, in Word.
I have on those dating apps. I see it all the time that you know, to never send anybody you don't know money. I've seen that.
My banking institution, before you can send money to anyone, they tell you, they have a disclaimer, and you have to click and say I understand, right, the disclaimer. But they do tell you there, make sure that that this person is who it is, and that you're sending money to the person that that you're choosing, especially on the first time, right, that this person that you're sending money to is someone that that you have awareness of, because you cannot get your money back. There's no refunds for things like that. And I use other apps too to send money to my hometown. And the same thing goes whenever you start a new account, like a new person that you're sending money to, it gives you that disclaimer.
And I wanted just to add this, just to provoke a thought, but like when we talk, what we talking about? There's no classes, not even in college, to teach you emotional intelligence. This is generally something people find along their journey in life. You know, even in psychology, they just talk about behavior and personality types. But a lot of times, even the most intellectual people get bamboozled because there's very few people who teach emotional intelligence, even understand it, even practice it. And it's a constant practice because different emotions are triggered from different experiences in life. But this is the conversation that you need to be start having with the youth. You know, we do it various ways between me and Marlene's platform, but just people truly being aware of the effects because half of the things we suffer from is not only our own emotions, but we have to be aware of the things that we do that has the potential to affect other people's emotions and how important understanding, you know, emotional intelligence is because it, it it goes along with social intelligence too. And the issues that we have in life in general um, are predicated on those two things: just the lack of communication, the lack of interaction, or effective interaction with one another. You know, people, we, I'm trying to find a nice way to say it, but we like to believe that we civilized people, but as a mass, as the majority, we truly not. We conduct ourselves worse than animals do at times. Even animals have more respect for one another's nature than we do as human beings. You know, classify and categorize people just because people believe or don't believe in something that they this, they that is we have so much work to do on stuff. Instead of doing that, we just like to look on the outside and judge other people. But that's all I wanted to add.
That was good word. I and that's the whole thing is that a lot of times, like we were just talking about, you could be very intellectually intelligent, but like Word said, you don't have emotional intelligence. And he's right. There's a lot of things that I didn't learn or know about until I got to be older and started researching things and talking to the right people, professionals, and I started to gain knowledge of what really to do with my emotions. So most of the time, and we all know that the majority of the times as women we are emotionally, bonded to things. So a person can know if you're a very emotional person, they know who, they always know who to fool, who to pull the strings with and play games with. And especially, like I always say all the time on social media or different apps, don't put all your business out there because that's how you get people to come to you and do certain things to you because you already put it all out there. So be careful what you put on social media if you don't want other people to know.
Exactly. Exactly, Marlene. And that's what I'm saying. You don't have to um the things that you post, on social media, you don't have to say I'm not emotionally in tune to that person that is going to start asking you for money or, following you in that respect. They can see it. They can read it. They can go into your entire history if it's not private and see all of the different emotional ways that you react to things, right? And they can target you on that particular area. And a lot of times, like I said, from where you come from, um, it says a lot to people that are going to target you. You know what I mean? Like, they feel like if they go into the I need this because right now I need, like, my house is broken into, or my mom is so sick. They know, right? You have moms. Oh, my son is very sick right now, or my dad is this. So they always follow everything that you're doing on your social media and start targeting you in different ways. And the reason I'm saying this is because my sister-in-law's parents, they have passed away, right? But anniversaries, they always posting things like on their death, on the anniversary of their death. They're always posting things like, oh, it's been so long since, or so many years since you went away, and I still miss you. I still this. And I'm always telling them, don't do that. I understand you can say, my mom passed away so and so many years ago, or passed away today, it's her anniversary, and that's all you have to say, if you have to say something. But if you don't put your emotional business, on social media, because people can, oh my God, right? Someone that wants to target you right away. They know how to get to you as soon as you say yes, be my friend, or you accept a friendship request or whatever. So you have to be very careful on what you post. You can be emotional. I'm not saying you can't, but just don't put it on social media. Don't put it on places where people can harm you.
Right. Right. I agree with that 100%. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so like super, super strict on, younger people and having social media accounts because they just don't understand things. And as, a caregiver, parents, whatever you are to a child, you have to be very, you have to be very like on it. You have to be very vigilant, and not because you don't trust the child, but because you don't trust whoever it is. There's people out there, and that's just what they do. They like to victimize not just young people or special needs people, but also they like to go after the elderly because they are just don't understand certain things and they're very gullible.
That is, Marlene, you're so on point. Yes, especially the elderly, because they're not well versed on this social media stuff and technology and stuff like that, what they can and cannot post, right?
Right. Right. And I say that all the time. Hey, experienced Africans and everybody who's in the chat. Thanks for everybody for being here. I think it's something that you have to really pay attention. And I wasn't really like aware of things because when you're at a certain age and you know how to do certain things on your phone, on a computer, but just an older person who doesn't know anything about technology. One scam before my mom passed away, there was somebody who was saying, I'll teach you about computers, but you just got to send me, I'll help you set up your bank account on it. Now, to do that, of course, to set up your bank account, what do they need?
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
routing number, your this, your that. And my mom, she was all excited. She says, guess what? I found somebody who's going to help me. I said, help you with what, mom? Help me to set up my bank account. I said, set up your bank account on what? Oh, on the computer. I said, you don't need anybody to help you. I'll do that for you. She says, oh, he just said he needs $50 and my routing number. I was like,
I'm sorry, Marlene. I don't mean to laugh, but I just went through that with my mom. So, and I have to tell
and
you
you're
this.
like, no, no, no. And she does. I said, Mom, there's people out there, and that's the scam. My mom says, that's a scam. She just couldn't believe it.
Oh, but let me tell you, my mom. So my sister, I have a sister still back home and a brother. And my mom knows nothing about social media, so she wanted us to. Oh, my brother told her that there's a way that she could talk to my siblings back home, without wasting a lot of money on her regular, because she still has a house phone, by the way. That should tell you everything about my mom. And so my brother sets up, an account for her and everything. And then, so one day my mom tells him that, she found a long lost cousin that she didn't know she had, and she's been talking to this person. He contacted her and was telling her that, oh my God, yeah, I'm so happy about social media. Now I'm finding a lot of my family members, and I haven't seen you in so long. The last time I saw you, we were so young, and I lost contact with you, but I'm so happy I found you again. And so this person was calling my mom, like FaceTiming my mom, like very often. That was her long lost cousin, and then started asking my mom to wire money, right? And my mom had done so like 2 or 3 times. But then my mom was, and this is how we found out. My mom is like, I want to help my cousin, the cousin that I just found online, and he's having a hard time back home. So I want to find a way that I can send him money without having to, pay too much to send it. And so we're my brother asked her first, what cousin? And she's like, oh, a cousin I had back home. I didn't even know I had him. And, we've been talking, and he knows, he reminded me all about our childhood, where we lived, and the last time we saw each other. And my brother is like, what are you talking about? So my brother started talking to this person, and discovered that it was someone from a total different place with had nothing to do with my mom relationship wise, and had been scamming my mom for a while. And I'm thinking, like, mom, how could you be like so vulnerable? How can you just take someone and say, yeah, I'm your cousin, your long lost cousin from back home? And but he knew things about where I grew up. And I said, you might have fed him those things without even realizing it. So yeah, she had been helping her long lost cousin. So we have to be careful with parents too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was about to say that I can have a conversation with people about anything and get information that they didn't even know they told me. I mean, so there's people out here very skilled in manipulating and extracting information. That's just facts. I mean, a lot of people don't believe things until they see it or it's done. I used to be one of them people, and then it's just you just can't be naive to think because you're not aware of something. Okay, no, that you're not aware of something that it won't happen, and that's what happened. People think I can't. Like my mother-in-law, before she passed, she called me one day and was like, because me and my wife travel a lot. She said, did you and the wife go down to Texas in 2013?" And I'm like, nah. She said because somebody called her, gave her my wife's name, first name, middle name, and last name, marriage name. First gave her the maiden and the marriage name, and said that she had an outstanding warrant in Texas, and the only way they can settle this is she gave them the social security number, and the fine is $2,000. And I'm like, give me that number. So I called the number and they answered and they sent me over to their specialist. And I told them, I said, I hope you know this number is a Google number. And you think just because you got a Google number, I can't trace. I said, you're not even in Texas. And I said, you're actually in Nigeria. And they hung up the phone on me. And
Say
it's just like,
what?
yeah, I mean, it's freeways. Like that Google number, it's people, these scammers think they slick. But they use primitive technology. I mean, there's stuff out here that you can pay 9.99 for, and you can completely erase a VPN. You can, I mean, it's tracking software. It's people on the internet who are like anti-scammers, and they give you free tips on YouTube. I forgot the name of the page, but I'll find it because I'm subscribed to it. But they give you all the tools and information that you can use for free to reverse a lot of this stuff that people use to scam, like even the IP erase software. It's so much like anything that's created bad has a positive side to it, and it's people using it. But you just always, this is the point I wanted to make. I want to tell that story, but never give people the weapon of your destruction. Just simple. Some things you should keep private. Anything that you're working on, trying to get better on, I would suggest, unless someone helping you, keep that private because that's what people do. They feel desires. If you can feel someone's desire, and like I always say, and like Marlene said earlier, when you emotionally feeling and making choices and decisions, you're not thinking. Will eradicate any rational thought. Until you're not in that emotion and you look back like, why did I do that? Because you was emotionally driven. We are creatures of feelings and emotions, so we will operate or function off that level. But like when we was talking about the ego, I had to make sure my son hurt my dog. I just heard him make karate sound. But but like when I was talking about the ego, and the important part is what I was trying to explain to people. You are the ego. You know, you have two parts. You have the ID and the super ego, but you are the one who makes balance. You're the one who brings balance to the one, with your feelings and your thoughts. You have to bring balance to that. If not, other people will control you. You know, I always say either you in control or someone is controlling you, but it has to happen.
Yep.
My son is going crazy in here, doing
It's
karate
all
on my
good.
dog.
It's all good work. And I was gonna bring this to an end. Anyways, I just wanted to hear if you have any final words, and then I'll go to next. Oh, he dropped down. Okay, so I guess we'll go to Nexie then.
No, but again, it's pulling on those, heartstrings. Like with my mom, the cousin, right? The long lost cousin. You have to be careful. You have to guard. Again, everything you post, everything you say on social media, you have to be very careful. If you want to say things like that, then make it private. Don't allow people to just come and go as they please on your platform. You have to be very careful. And that's pretty much it. Just be careful. I guess that's all I have to say. Since Marlene, you have to go.
Huh?
I say you have to go, right?
No, no, no. Go ahead, continue. I was just letting you finish your thought.
Oh, no, no. That's on that. Now, you were talking about um earlier about parents. I think you said like my phone
Yes.
died.
Yeah, I was talking about parents. In the beginning, I was talking about working in healthcare, and I see a lot of parents or elderly persons into nursing homes, and they are always asking for their kids or family members, and they never come to visit them. And I was saying, it made me think, what type of person were they?
And that is an amazing thought. That I mean, the way of that you're thinking about that, because you're not making the assumption that their kids are bad, right? Or that their family members are horrible or anything. You're thinking more on the what happened for it to come to this, right?
Yes,
And
that's exactly what I was thinking.
yeah, and my daughter one time, we were walking to just to our local supermarket, and there was this old man with carrying a lot of bags. He had, like, those little shopping carts, those personal ones that are like little baskets. You pull out the thing, and he was carrying one of those, and he had like three bags on his hands and a backpack. And he's old. You could tell he was probably like in his 80s, and he's walking to take the bus and everything. And then my daughter said, oh my God, mom, look at him, poor guy. Like, where are his kids? And she's young at this point. She's probably like in her, like 10 or 12 years old. She's like, I can't believe his kids will do something like that. Like, if that was you, I will take you to the market. I will pick you up. I will do this. I will do that. And I said, I stood quiet. I said, well, there must be a reason for that. And then probably as we're walking around, probably like 5-10 minutes after that, she says something again. She goes, "But you know what, Mom? I get it now." And I'm like, "What do you mean you get? Like, what are you talking about? We've been talking about so many things. Like, what are you talking about right now?" She says, "No, I get it about that man, because I will take you to the store. I will do this, but I'm not sure if I will do that for Dad."
See, you see,
And I'm like,
you see how that goes. Like, and I can say honestly, Nexi, that before I repaired my relationship with my mother, I would have said that about my dad. I would do anything for my dad. And if something had happened to my mom, I can't say at that time I would have, because of it was a tumultuous relationship. It was very volatile. So until you're in a good space with somebody, you really don't know what you're willing to do for somebody. So that's why I always say, what did they do to make nobody, I mean, nobody come to visit them.
Yeah, exactly. And but at the moment it didn't make, you put it in the back. When you're with your kids and they say the darnest things, you just laugh because it's hilarious, the things that they come up with. And I didn't really take it into consideration, like what, like say, wait a minute, is this like is this how the future's going to be between them? And now looking back at that moment, and it's something that I remember as you were talking, going through this, is that back then she was only 12 years old, and there was already cracks in that relationship between her and her dad, right? That I didn't pick up from. And now coming to this time, you know they it's the relationship right now, it's not, it's not good. They don't have any communication right now between, her and her dad. But I cannot
Yeah.
force her to do
Oh,
it,
go
Marlene.
ahead.
No, no, you can stay on so you can chime in too. No, but what I said is, I cannot force her to fix that relationship. I cannot make her do that. It has something that it has to happen between the two of them, because they're both very stubborn. They both have the same mentality. So I cannot force her to I cannot do that. I wish I could, but I can't. But I go
Mhm.
back to that older man that we saw with all those packages.
Mhm.
And so I recently we were talking, and I she said something about, her dad, and don't even go there, mom, I'm not. And I said, I'm saying anything. I'm just telling you what's been happening to dad. I'm not saying you have to go and talk to him. It's up to you. You're going to do it on your time. And then I said, do you remember that old man when we were walking a long time ago? And she's thinking. I said, we were walking. He was carrying all these packages. Then she said, yes, I remember. And now I get it, mom. Now I get a lot of things. And now I understand that in order for someone, and she's going to be a mom soon, because in order for me to get that love and everything that I have for you, I'm going to have to work, make sure that my daughter feels how much I love her, and I have to give it to her so that she can give it back to me one day. She said, now I understand the concept, or the way you were trying to tell me back then.
Yep. And
And
I
mhm.
oh, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut
No,
you
no,
off.
no, you. No, I was waiting for you. I was like, go.
Yeah. Okay. So, and it's something that you really don't think about those things. And I think a lot of times parents don't think about those things because they're so busy being a parent and taking care of a child, and you think you're doing the best that you can, but you have to understand that you have to learn to love a child the way they want to be loved. And that's something that I definitely am learning and always seeking to learn more. Is we usually tend to love people how we want to receive love. And that's one of the things that I heard uh, an argument amongst two patients one time, and that was the argument. You always want me to do things that you like, but you never ask me what do I want. And it proceeds through their whole life. If it's always a thing that the parent or the child can go vice versa, only wants you to do things for them, but they never do the things that you want to and you like, that becomes very toxic, and that behavior can be tolerated much longer. When you're a child, you can't really control well, you never can control what your parents do. But when you get older, you have more choices, that I don't have to spend time with them and I don't have to do anything with them if I don't want to. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's all of that.
And the you are right when you're saying that, you love your child, each and every, like, let's say we have multiple children, right? I have four, and I have learned how to love each and every one of them individually. How much time I have to dedicate to each one, because I have learned, I made myself learn how they behave, right? Their behavior. what their needs are. I took the time to do that because it was important to me, to make sure that I could love them the way that they needed me. I could understand them the way that they needed me to understand. And we cannot put them in a bulk. They're our kids and they're going to love me because I love them. In order for you to have a relationship with your child that it's a strong one and it's returned the way you want it is, you have to look at this child as an individual. You know what I
Right.
mean?
You're so right. And I will also add to that, I will add other relationships too. When you're younger, and you have your siblings, that's one relationship, but you also have to get to know your siblings as they get older, and maybe the things that they liked when they were younger, they don't like now. All relationships is always changing and it should be growing. And if you find that you're not growing in your relationship, it may be the reason why people fall off and out of your life, because if they're in a state of progression, they're growing and processing and making changes and doing things that maybe before they thought was okay but realize now it's not, and you still stayed in the same space for the next 20 and 30 years, it may be the reason why other people don't want to be around you.
Yeah, exactly. But with the relationship between siblings, right? It's different, or friends that are like siblings to you. It's different. What sometimes I have problem, like, yeah, a problem with sometimes is when parents behave a certain way when they're young, right? They're going, about their life, and the kids become secondary. They're either exploring their careers, or they're traveling, and they're doing all of those things. And once they get older, and they cannot do any of those things as frequent, or they have done all of that and they're ready now to be parents. I don't like that they expect the child to come back running and treat you like if you have always been there. Like, I don't know if I'm explaining myself right, and I don't want to
Yeah,
step on
yeah,
anybody's toes, but I don't like when they don't give you the time, and they don't harvest, or continue to feed that love, right, from one another. They expect you to come running when they get older, for you to pick up everything that they cannot do anymore, or give them that love that they never really gave you. And I don't like
right.
when they expect that, first and foremost, and they get upset if they don't get it, and they go to the, well, I'm your mother, so I gave birth to you, like, why, you should be helping me now. And I don't like
Yeah,
when people use things like that.
yeah, and I think that the issue is the expectation, and I learned that all of that from Word, and I'm glad he's up here. I definitely learned all of that from him, because a lot of times we expect things from people that they can't feel that because they don't possess it themselves.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna give you anything that you haven't given me. Like, I cannot form the relationship I had with my father, right? Because he raised me since I was 5 years old. The strong bond, the strong relationship that I had, the loyalty I had for my dad, and I'm gonna say it like that because it was, he passed away already, but the loyalty I had for him, the desire I had to take care of him in his older years, it's not there for my mom. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna sound like a horrible human being, but that's okay. That's okay. That's exactly how I feel, and I cannot be anybody but myself. I cannot run to someone that I don't really know, someone that has not been there for me. My time is precious.
And I just wanted to add another perspective too, just from what I learned in experience. When it
From
comes
me
to
now. Or,
when it
oh, I'm
comes to
sorry.
like parents, oh, can you hear me? I'm sorry, I got to walk around.
Yeah.
But I learned it from watching, right? And it's cycles to everything. Not even talking about karma, but cycle. Like when we young, we depend on the older people to take care of us. But as we get older, the older people depend on us to take care of them. It's a cycle that's never ending. So I had to figure out how can I explain this cycle to my kids, and the best way for me was to show them. So I just there's a couple philosophies, I follow, and one of them is not what people do to you, but how you respond to it. And even though in my younger years my dad wasn't there, uh, I made peace with him in my later years and led by example. Now my siblings are doing the same. He wasn't the best dad, but he always said I'm gonna be a better grandpa. So just his learning from his mistakes, and I learned because all the things he did wrong, I know not to do them because I watched him. So I understand how to do things more correctly. But even the cycle, like I watched my grandmother take care of her man, right? So when she got older, I knew that's what I was supposed to do. So sometimes, even though our parents aren't there, we still have to lead by example and show the correct way to do stuff. Even though they didn't do it correct, we still have to show the youth the correct way to do it. No, no, hana, shana, no, okay, banana, no,
Marlene,
no, no, no. I apologize.
did we lose her?
Huh? No, I
Oh,
was
I
just in
thought
the
we've lost you.
background. Oh no, no. I was muted because you were talking.
Yeah, no, to me is like I said, I was raised by my dad. I didn't have my mom in my life. Now, my mom hasn't really been part of our children's life either, right? She really hasn't been a grandmother. Um, so um, I'm with my kids all the time. So what I learned to do from that broken relationship, and the inability of her to be either a mom and a grandmother, is that I'm gonna have to be the one to teach my kids both, right? Be the mom that I didn't have, and be the grandmother to their children that they didn't have. That's gonna be my job. So for me, leading by example will be me showing my children how it's supposed to be done, because they haven't had that from my mother's side. They had it from my dad. Yes, he was an amazing grandpa and everything, but when it came to my mom, she hasn't really been there for them. So I have to be both for my kids, and I'm happy to do that. I'm gonna show them how a grandparent is supposed to be in their lives. They had it from my husband's side of the family. Their grandmother was always there, so that's where I'm picking up from. And going forward, I've already showed them what a mom is all about. Now I'm gonna show them, going forward, like continuing their grandma on my husband's side, how it's supposed to be as a grandparent.
Right.
And that's fact. You know, Unfortunately, we can't determine certain circumstances and have people act the way they're supposed to, but we can still
Mm-hmm.
lead by example by learning
Mm-hmm.
from their mistakes and their shortcomings and just doing things the right way, being an
Yeah.
example right then and there. Like you said, even though your mom didn't provide that example, you're doing it. You learn from her mistakes and you doing what she didn't do, so you can create. I mean, they talk about generational curses. That's how you break. It's by
Yeah.
simply learning from the mistakes of the past and doing the correct things in the present.
Yeah, and going by what you said as well, that we have to be that example, right? We always talk, and with you. I sometimes keep you, I think, for hours. I'm your kryptonite. But I think that, you know, living like that, it's the best way that you can show your character, or what you're made of, as people say, right? You cannot expect anyone to give you anything that you're not giving them, showing them, living by. If I, let's say I was a person that, and I have nothing about, alcohol or anything, but let's say I'd be a person that is drinking on a daily basis, getting wasted by the end of the day, and I see my kids drinking, I'm gonna tell them, "Why are you drinking? You should have been drinking and driving. You shouldn't be doing that." How can I ask them not to do that when I'm the one showing them that it's okay to be wasted, be drunk, be whatever? You know what I mean? Like things like that. It's what I always think of when it comes to how do I interact with others is, you know, by example.
Hmm. It's like that. It's like that commercial from a long time ago. I learned by watching you.
Watch
Exactly.
you.
We know somebody that had that, right, Marlene? Thrown on her face like, oh my God,
Yeah,
that's
we know. So we know
hilarious.
somebody who did that.
No, who knows somebody that knows somebody who did
That
that.
knows somebody.
She ain't see the new drop next week. I don't think she's seen the new one.
Oh, Marlene.
Welcome to reality. I got a new
Oh no,
series,
Marlene,
man.
you have to see that one. It's hilarious. But
I
I'll
send it to
go.
you. Welcome to reality. It's gonna be different
Oh
too.
And
boy.
there you go, word again. I'm sorry, I'm gonna bring this back to our parents, right? But I did say that to my mom. This is your reality. This is not something we created, because she was complaining like about now that she's all alone, right? My dad too passed away, so she's alone. She's all alone in the house, and she's complaining that nobody cares, that her grandkids don't visit her, and that her kids don't visit her, that she's all alone. And then, I someone that I don't disrespect her per se, screaming or, yelling or anything, but I tell her, this is your reality. I say, you're the one who moved like 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours away from all of us. You haven't really been part of your grandkids' life, mom. So you cannot expect them to be here every weekend or every other weekend when you haven't really been there for them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because she's always
Yep.
criticizing that the grandkids don't love her, that, now that they don't come visit her, even though they have cars, they drive, you don't bring the great grandkids over. And I'm like, you have never done that for them. You have never taught them to had to love you. You never taught him that. You were never long enough in their lives, or, if you will visit, it was be a day, like a round, 24-hour round trip. Come over, hi, and bye. That was it. So they don't really know you. I say you cannot expect from them something that you haven't given them or
Exactly.
shown them.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons why I say that when I see that in nursing home and hospitals, when I make my rounds and go places, I see a lot of things, and it saddens me because they're a human being, but also it makes me raise an eyebrow, like what kind of person were they?
Now, Marlene, let me ask you this, and only because it happened to me, but I want to ask you. You've been working in the medical field for a minute, right?
Yeah, over 15 years.
Okay. Now, when did this? I wonder what they did or why this is. When did that hit on you? What age, or not age, but what? How many years into your medical career?
I would say that had to be around like maybe year 5.
Mm. That you were older and mature, more mature
Yeah.
in
Hmm.
age.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Ward? Has that ever hit you?
I always looked at it not like what they did, but how did they process their experience. Because sometimes, a lot of times people find justification or make excuses, and they just be unaware of the consequences to their actions. And I mean, understanding what they did for me, um, it was just more like I guess I tried to get in a sense of helping. So I always looked at it like, how did they process uh, what they did? And I just found like a lot of times, like even close family members, when they did stuff, the way they processed it was justification. rectification because what was done to them and they were stuck in the cycle. And when they realized that, they were able to correct it. So I guess it's just the perception or the intention looking at the situation, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah. Well, for me, I think it was um, probably probably 6 or 7, Marlene, that I was working in the medical field, that I had that epiphany of, oh, okay, I understand now why these people are so distant or so careless when it comes to um, their vulnerable parents in homes or in hospitals, right? I Because, like you said, you listen to their interactions, but you never it didn't hit me, because I've heard before, the children parents going back and forth, like you say, you always want to do what you want. You're always this way, you don't change, right? You haven't changed. That's exactly what they mean. You've always done this, you always follow this, you always this. So it wasn't until, like I said, that time that it hit me, and I heard a conversation, and I could relate it to me. That's when it hit me, like the clarity that I needed. And I went back in years and saying, oh my God, I was being unfair judging this other person, when the problem I was taking care of. You know what I mean? Like, it had to be something that this person did for them growing up, for them to behave this way, or that didn't do when they were growing up for them to behave that way.
See, and that's what a lot of people don't want to face. They just want to hide as a victim as they get older. But I've seen fathers, their whole life, they were so busy, getting a career and making money and all of that. And one time, one of the kids came and said, "Well, why didn't you marry the money, or why didn't you go and buy another? Yeah, why don't you marry your money?" Because we don't want nothing to do with you. And like other people, when they hear that, oh, how can you talk to your father that way? But if you think about it, if their whole life their father has been gone and everything has been about him making money, and now he's older and has the money, what are you going to do with it now? You got to
Yeah,
treat you
I've
got to.
actually heard that too, Marlene. I have to chime on this one. I'm sorry, but I've actually heard that, and I've heard it from somebody very close to me, that said to her father, "Now all the money that you've been dreading spending on us kids, make sure you save it, so that when you get older, you have someone that so you have the money to pay someone to give up for you and take care of you, because I won't be there." I was like, oh, I was shocked. But at the same time, if they haven't put in the time, and I don't mean money, but if they have been the ones that have said to their kids all the time, because of you, if it wasn't for you, I would have been better off financially, or if it wasn't for you,
Mhm.
so when this little person said that to him, I was shocked, because I was like, oh, how can you say that? But at the same time, if you analyze it without putting your heart into it, it makes sense. Because if this person has been telling his kids that if it wasn't for them, he will be better off financially. He wouldn't be spending so much money raising them, or wouldn't have spent so much money raising them, if this person is using that on another human. Because at this point, even though it's your child, it has its own mind, then don't expect that to not come back to you and bite you in the tush.
Yep. It's a boomerang.
It sure is.
Yeah.
And I only, for me, is in this is the way that I live my life, is I'm only give out, and expect what I put out, and I only give you what you have given me.
Mhm.
I cannot do it any other way, and it might sound cruel because they're parents, right? there are parents, but if you haven't invested any time in getting to know me, or being in my life, then right now that you're older, don't expect me. I can't do that. It will be hypocritical on my part to fake caring, or fake wanting to spend time with you, when it's probably going to feel super awkward.
Mhm. Yep. It's so true. And I hate to end this discussion, but I got some grouchy people giving me the side eye, like,
I'm glad I have
ready
no
to,
children, Marlene. I only have wolves.
ready, ready to eat. So, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to bring this to an end. But I do want to hear your final words from both of you.
Word, go for it.
You go first, ladies first.
Oh, what a gentleman. No, nothing. For me, will be just make sure that you are spending quality time with your loved ones, your kids. Make sure that you show them the kind of love, attention, patience, and understanding that you want to receive back, because we're the ones who are supposed to be teaching them all these things. Um, and just simply that, just be in your kid's life the right way. Don't be there because you have to. Be there because you want to, and be the change in their lives um, that you probably didn't have. That's all.
I will say this: perception is reality. It's not really the situations that happen; it's the way we perceive them, and that's predicated upon how we feel and how we think. So a lot of times we can change our reality just by accepting things for what they are, understanding them, and taking the best course of action. Like I was saying earlier, there's a difference between a choice and a decision. A choice is what you give, and a decision is what you make. So, um, yeah, that's all I'll leave. Uh, just because people do things to us, don't mean we have to do it back to them. We just have to find the best course of action for us. You know, um, that's all I would leave with. Whatever works for you. In this life, you only get one, so you have to follow you. You know, I try not to follow nothing that's not beneficial to me, but be open minded to everything because you never know what might be useful to you. Just because you haven't tried it or not aware of it, don't mean it can't work. I appreciate you allowing me up though. So content pimping at its finest.
Yes, expect it to
Amen
be
to that.
chopped up. It will be chopped up. So thank you both for joining me. And my final thought is, don't play with people's feelings, whether it's in a relationship, with your family and with your friends. Treat people kindly, because you never know. Just because you may be in a space right now to be okay doesn't mean you will be always. Sometimes you fall down, and it's the very people at that moment that you thought you didn't need will be the ones that you wind up needing. So treat people kindly and don't play with fire, and you won't get burned. Thank y'all so much for joining me today, and check out the Words channel. And I also got to say shout out to Nexie for her support always. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.